Honestly, I was quite surprised because Spellbound did blow my expectation completely. To be fair, Netflix animated movies usually are 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10, and this one is no different. In fact, my opinion, to be honest with you, Spellbound is probably the best film they ever made in Netflix. Even that this was sort of helped by John Lasseter. And some of you don't know who is John Lasseter. He's the guy who actually helped build Pixar. Then he got fired for just hugging a person. Even that, a lot of people before you come in work to Pixar says just be careful, don't be surprised. John Lasseter is a hugger. He liked to hug people, and that's it. That's the reason he got fired, because he hugged someone, and that's it. Now he work in, I think, was it called Skydance, and this is one of his films that he actually worked on. And you know what? Yeah, this is feels like a Pixar film. In fact, more like a Disney film than anything else, because it is feel very traditional Disney, but done so well. In fact, not well. I'm not over exaggerating. It feels really, really good. The only problem it has is sort of the writing. Like, they have specific moments, like I want to say six specific moments that I wish they rewrite it specific different ways, because they're trying to push drama, and how they execute that drama was sort of kind of mishandled. But all of that, the whole film, it is good. It's the best way to describe it is sort of the phase last decade. They're trying to reverse your expectation and keep failing. They did the same here, but actually succeeded, because the whole story feels kind of refreshing, but you've seen it some version before it. A fat okay, I'm not gonna ruin that. I'm gonna wait, because I want you to see this film, because it is actually pretty surprising, pretty good. It's something I highly, highly recommend. The less you know, the better. In fact, do not watch the trailer. Do not watch none of the musicals on YouTube. Wait till you watch the film, because it's more fun to see the surprise and interesting twist they give to you, because it's quite of delight. That's the best way to describe it. Before I actually start the review, my name is Rachel. I like to talk about animation, not just animation, the reviews, first impressions, cartoon theories, and sometimes, if I have some spare time, cartoon breaking news. Of course, you like how it's going, you like to help my channel, put a like, comment, and subscribe. That's the thing you need to do, just one of them, and that's it. But if you don't, that's fine. But if you do, thanks to you, I'm getting close to my main goal of 2,000 subscribers. And yes, I am getting close every single day, because of people put like, comment, and share. Thank you. Now let's get started of the movie Spellbound. Now, one of the things I'm kind of disappointed this was never in theaters, because the creativity, the sort of grand scope of it, it just feel so great. It's something the role is just done so interesting and fun and very creative. In fact, this is the reason why I kind of want to see this in theater, because all the ideas that has shown you, it is quite surprising, and kind of get me invest of this world. Especially our main lead, who is basically a kind of a princess. In fact, I had said it before, this feels like a Disney or Pixar film. They take on for princess, because let's face it, it's John Lasseter. Whatever he says, he sort of knows what he's doing, and it feels very traditional Disney, but with a twist. This is the thing that makes it different. It's because you follow this princess who basically has one major problem. Her parents turned to monsters. But this is the thing that make it refreshing. It doesn't give you the steps when happen. This movie does not hold your hand. It lets you reinterpret the reasons why it happened, what is happening, and how the princess act to it. And she act very responsible. Usually they try to be the main lead princess, perky, happy, outgoing. No, this princess is very similar to that, but reasonable. Like, she knows she has responsibilities. She knows she must take care of her parents for right now, figuring out how to decurse them. But the only problem is, it had been a whole year, and the consul who attempted to mentor her, saying, "Sweetie, it's time. You must technically take in charge. We cannot keep it in secret anymore." It's sort of obvious, because they constantly show you how these two creatures, the queen and king, became these monsters, but because they live inside the castle, everything is just wrecked. I mean, every little design, little details they showed you. This building has been through it with these creatures because they're so huge. They keep breaking stuff back and forth. Even stepping, they leave huge marks in the cement of their own weights. And you can see this castle is not been built for this type of creatures. And the princess sort of knows this, and she's trying really hard to maybe have some contact to someone or some wizard to help them solve the problem. But this is the kicker. They never really explain what was the activation becoming sort of this creatures. They just say, oh, they enter the dark forest and they become monsters, and that's it. The rest of the whole film, little by little, they show you a little bit about the magic world, the reason why they change, but they never really hold your hand. They allowed you to sort of reinterpret what little thing to the very end, show you why they become beast. It's because their marriage is actually falling apart. It's sort of a metaphor of them being monsters, becoming something that they're not. It's like the old saying, when you marry, you better have. They push you become better. You become your better person. But if a marriage starts rotten, you become the worst person you actually are because of your love interest making you that sort of monster. And that's sort of the metaphor done so creative and well. But on top of all this, they also put a good point of view of how this is going on, how this affects the kingdom, because they don't want to scare off all the people down below, all their employees, all the civilians, because they must keep this secret to actually figure it out. The only problem is the advisors, yeah, they figured out like there is no answer. They're lost. I mean, the princess must become the queen. And I like it that the princess, she's not trying to be sort of edgy, over the top. Why me? The fact she understands, she doesn't like it. She's sort of tired of this, but she's willing to give 110% for the kingdom. But the only problem is she doesn't know how the royal guard will react, especially they does things before actually thinking. And that's sort of the fear of the princess and the two right hands who attempted to help her figure out the answer. There is an answer, but not the answer you expect. Especially they have to go back in the dark forest and sort of kind of find the light. But I love it they reverse the trope of, oh yeah, we have this fairy godmother who is kooky and weird and who attempted to help your problems. But no. They have a fairy godmother, but they have sort of the oracles that sort of kind of represent the fairy godmother, saying, oh, we can help, but not the way you think. And this is the thing make this film special. The whole film is sort of very realistic. There is no simple solution. They're just great answers you kind of accept or not. And this is what I mean. This movie never pretends magic will solve all your answers, because it never does. You have to sort of deal with it, but figure out the positive way to actually deal with the issues. And that's the thing, I truly fell in love with this film, especially the princess who trying to be positive, trying to figure out how to get out of this. But I also love the world they built, especially the dark forest, that honestly, every time you hear a magical fairy tale, you have to beware this witch, beware the dark forest, but never really go into detail. And this one tries to do that little details to get you invested in more. Like for example, the reason why they become monsters is because their emotions, because the princess and the king anger, their frustration, becoming the worst of them, the magic react to that, making them monsters. And that's sort of interesting. You want to reverse that, you have to go on a trip in the forest, find the light, and this light would turn them. But this is the twist, that they must accept, yeah, we are not doing so well. If we get together, we probably become the same people, but we don't like being us. We don't want this. And that is just interesting because they don't say it. they show you. Like another good fun example is sort of the cave, or this sort of kind of cave. It's sort of like a wooden sort of place that's just talking, but if you talk positive, it's like an energy come on your mouth. It becomes sort of kind of like a liquid bubble. And this liquid bubble is just super positive, it doesn't hurt anyone. But if you're angry, upset, or just bitter, every word you say is very bitter, it will hurt you. And that is just interesting because they sort of stuck sort of situation. If everybody's so mad, everybody keep hurting themselves, and they tend to figure out how to escape. Given that sort of metaphor that the family is sort of broken, you have to realize you have to stop. And that is just interesting because they have lots of moments like that in the film. Little moments like the quicksand, a cliche, but the quicksand is there is because of the shade. It's weird, but when they show you, you get it. It's a sort of another metaphor that they can't stop fighting. It feels like a whirlwind. And that's exactly how they trying to give you that sort of ideas. And that the reason why I really enjoy it. On top of this, they done all the characters sort of justice in a way, because usually when you do this type of film, you have the evil Brazil or the evil consul or the evil guard, and no one is truly evil. All of them are just sort of concerned in time trying to do their job, but because the princess is 15, they know they must be done. They have to basically force their authority of her, because once again, they have the kingdom to be ruled. If they don't, everything become chaos. And you can see why. You can really see why the king and queen, they're not doing the job. Everything fell apart quite literally. And you see how the princess doesn't want to get in charge. She doesn't want to be queen. I mean, she doesn't say it. She knows she can save her two parents. But it's been a year. You kind of get it. She needs to step up, and she do understand it. But the situation is sort of complicated. And that's what it make it so refreshing, especially how the princess deal this the very end. She almost became the monster that she really is, because how she feeling. In fact, this is the greatest metaphor I have ever seen about the evil forest. The forest is not evil. It's all about how the magic react to your emotions, and how you become that awful person, not accepting something different because you have no choice. That's how your life is. You have to accept the sort of change of the world, or change of your world now, or it's your bubble. How your parents are basically divorced, but you don't know how to feel. You feel angry, you feel happy for them, you feel so many weird emotions that you become something you're not. And that is a very interesting take. I mean, everything was thing here. You sort of maybe sort of a cliche, but sort of reverse it a very unique, fun way. Of course, I almost forgot the relationship with the king and queen and their daughter. That is probably the most interesting sort of take I have ever seen, because the king and queen are monsters. They cannot communicate, at least not in the beginning, because it's all about the princess understanding they're still there, but you don't know it's them or they just reacting to things like giving them cake or giving them their food of the monsters. But you have that moments you feel, yeah, there they are, they're their parents, but they do something else after you realize, wait, it's just me, or I just reinterpreted it wrong way. And they do this constantly in the film, that the princess is could be delusional, not seeing this is maybe not a sign. Maybe they are completely gone, like everybody keeps saying. Maybe she is completely wrong. But how much she dedicated, she tries so hard, he actually does realize, no, she's not wrong. They're there. Especially I love how little by little how the king and queen becoming human, but not the way you want it. And this is the reason why I mean this is sort of realistic, because let's face it, there is no easy solution, just sort of another way to handle it, because the king and queen start talking, but they don't have their personalities, they do not have their parents. God's sake, they don't know this is her real daughter. The only thing they know, she's a girl. that's the rock, that's the beast. And that's all they say. They say a few words in the very beginning, but the more movie goes on, the more context they have, the more understanding till the event happens. And that is just sort of interesting because you like with the princess, like maybe I'm being delusional or maybe I do actually have a point. They are there. It just need the right cure or the right push to bring them out. And that's just sort of a very fun little dynamic because she's panicking. The princess trying to talk to them, but you don't know, are they understanding me or I'm just being kind of crazy. And that's sort of the fun part because those monsters, the king and queen, are there, but sometimes not. And that's just sort of the fun of this sort of interpretation. In fact, I'm fully invested of this film. If they decide to make a sequel, I'm all in. Of course, I have said it before, it's not perfect. It has a few issues. Basically just the writing. Specifically 6 specific moments that sort of kind of ruin the attention, but that's just sort of the first act and once in the final act. But it never feels bad. It never feels it ruins the whole movie. It is still a good movie. It just needs some polish. It feels John Lasseter, maybe he wasn't strict enough, or yeah, he didn't know how to tackle it because John Lasseter, how he takes charge, he never really made princesses movies, and I guess this is the second time because they attempted to do Brave, and that wasn't the best way to handle. It's still a good film, but still it's not amazing. This is sort of a Spellbound sort of one up Brave. In fact, the 2 last princesses they make of Brave and also Princess of Frog from Disney, this film one ups them because it is creative, fun, entertaining, and it has a very strong message of sort of divorce. Like, it's not a bad thing. It's sort of you have to understand how to deal it. You need time to actually think. But I love it. This takes about 3 years to figure out. The first year is skipped. It just show you all the effect. The second year is all the situation they have to get out that they are, but sort of doing with the problem onwards. And the third, the final year, she turned 16, the princess, is sort of the happy ending. But it's just sort of very strange way they did it, but everything just fits right. Even there's some complaints that you didn't need all the songs, you just take one, specifically the final second act. In other words, it's a song. You can really tell which song I'm talking about, but yet it's not ruin the film. It's still very enjoyable, very fun. In fact, I highly recommend it because it is the best animated film from Netflix. It is surprisingly good. Of course, how you feeling? Do you enjoy it? Do you hate it? Tell me down below. Let me know. Honestly, I got nothing else to say. Just thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.